So, Cindy, welcome. I'm just going to introduce myself. While I'm doing that, do you have the slides open for on your device?
No, I don't.
So I will show you.
The one SFK.
Yes, this one. One SFK, capital O, 0, capital X.
Okay, well, I have to get another. Just a second.
So while you're getting that up there, on the second slide, if you click on it, you will see a little Google form for you to introduce yourself. This is the Google in the Classroom webinar. Very simple form asking you for name and email, and then you can submit it. That's just so that if you have any follow-up questions, I'm going to be sending everybody an email with all the links to all the resources that we've talked about, including the YouTube URL of the archive of this webinar. So if you're interested in getting any of the resources, any of the links, getting to know more about Learning Bird, fill in this form, just name, email, very simple quiz, and like I always tell my students on the first day of class, the bad news is you have a quiz, the good news is it's 2 questions long and you should be able to pass it. So while you're filling out that form, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. My name is James. I'm an authorized Google education trainer. I'm an education consultant with Learning Bird, who are the wonderful sponsors who have actually brought us this webinar today. So thank you to Learning Bird for covering this for us and giving us this opportunity. I'm also a speaker with the EdTech team at the Google Apps for Education Global Summits. I'm the leader of the Montreal Google Educators Group. I'm a moderator of the Canadian EdChat Twitter chat, which happens every Monday night. And then in my free time, I've been known to teach math here and there. So I do a lot of stuff. I definitely have a passion for educational technology, so this is really what I care about deeply, which is why I like doing these events. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. And we're going to get started.
Okay.
So the first thing I'm going to talk about is Google Drive. This is my absolute favorite place to go for all of my work. As I like to tell people, even though they usually I don't think they enjoy listening to it, I do all of my work in Google Drive, so everything that I have is in the cloud, which is great because it lets me share things really easily, and it also lets me access things very easily. And when I have any sort of issues and I want to reformat my computer, I don't actually have to back anything up, so it's all backed up automatically. So this is Google Drive. There are 2 versions right now. There's the classic Google Drive, and then there's the new version of Google Drive. And the way to tell them apart is this red button here. On the left-hand side, it says New. That means you're in the new Google Drive. If it still says Create, that means you're in the old Google Drive, and I would definitely recommend switching to the new Google Drive. Eventually, at some point, the old Drive interface is going to disappear. So being in the new Google Drive will let you get used to where things are. There's a few changes, and it's a little bit improved. So to switch to the new drive, it's pretty simple. This little gear wheel up here is the Settings button. Click on that, and you'll have something that says Experience the new drive. Mine says Leave the new drive because I'm already in the new drive. So if you've got Experience the new drive, you can click on that, and it will change the way the interface looks, and you're going to see the new Google Drive. So we've got 3 sections here. We've got this on the left. This is the left sidebar. This section here in the middle, which is our view of the entire Google Drive. and then this section on the right, which is the information pane. We've got two ways of viewing things. We've got grid view and list view. I like the list view just because I'm very linear oriented when I'm thinking. The grid view shows you a preview of everything. So if you look, I can actually see this image here that's called header. It'll actually show me what's in that header. But I like list view because I tend to be very picky about how I name things, where I put things. It's very much personal preference. So you're welcome to use either one that you want. Something that I love about Google Drive is this search bar up here. Since I'm careful about how I name things, I can actually search directly in my Google Drive. So I can look for anything called demo. It will pop up the quick responses, the quick answers, just like a regular Google search. And if I press enter, it will open up the one that I have highlighted. So rather than trying to find things and look through folders and everything, I can actually do a really quick search through my entire drive. So if I want to find things that have a specific number, and I'm going to talk about numbering systems later on when we're talking about classroom, I can just do a quick search for 001, and that'll show me every single thing in my drive that includes anything about 001. If you don't want to use the search function, you're more than welcome to not use the search function. The left sidebar here functions an awful lot like a typical navigation. So you can look through everything that's in your drive. As you click on objects, you'll see them open, and you'll be able to navigate through the whole folder structure here. And then there's a couple other places on the left that are very useful. So I'm just going to collapse that in, and I'm going to talk about incoming. Incoming things are things that have been shared with you. So you can see student F has actually shared an assignment with me, and that shows up in incoming. Now, unlike a regular computer interface, things in Google Drive can actually appear in multiple places all at the same time. So if I look at this welcome assignment, I have the option over here. I can download it. I have more actions here. I can open it directly. I can make a copy. I can add a star. Or if I just want to open it, I can click on this button on the assignment name itself. That will open up the assignment. So things that have been shared with you don't necessarily appear right away in your drive. The way to tell is this little icon here. I can click on Add to my drive. So I can see I've shared this from my personal account to my other account. I have multiple Google accounts, and trust me, that's a whole different can of worms. But right now, this spreadsheet, Topics by Interest Responses, isn't actually in my Google Drive. If I click on Add to my drive, it will give me the option to choose where I want this to go, and that will put it into my Google Drive. It will still appear in incoming because I'm not the owner, but I'll be able to find it in my drive as well. Recent is a wonderful place to go because it shows you things you've been working on lately. I use recent most of the time when I'm using Google Drive because usually I work on the same stuff most of the time. And that's just a really quick way of getting to the stuff that, for instance, things you were working on yesterday. You can just scroll down and you can see, oh, here's something I was working on yesterday, and I can open that up really quickly. Starred is really neat because I can right-click on anything and I can add a star to this document. And you can see a little star appears there. I do that for things that I use regularly that I want to find, but I don't necessarily modify regularly. So if I go over here to starred, I can actually see everything that I've got a star on. So if you've got specific things that you use all the time, if you're doing a classroom newsletter, you can star it. and that will end up showing up in starred.